Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of the Citrus Preps podcast. I'm Brett Knutson. That's my partner, Mike Deem, keeping you updated on everything going on in Citrus County sports again this week as we're closing
down pretty quick.
Yeah, end of April, right around the corner, Easter weekend.
We've been doing this a whole year now. Wow.
I know.
It's like flown by.
And we're already in preparation for next year. So,
yeah, football season's right coming around.
Looking forward to that. We still have spring football we're going to get to as well before everything is over. But the
huge news.
The end of spring sports coming to a close. And for one school, the spring came to an end in the best way possible. We've talked about it before, Mike. I don't care what athletic event it is, what level it is. In high school, you walk away and can call yourself or your team a state champion. You've done something special.
Hallelujah. Chop Alexander, Citrus High School weightlifting team, boys weightlifting team, class 2A state title. Unbelievable.
Congratulations.
That's great. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Absolutely. And a lot of hard work put in that weight room for these young men. Obviously, a great weekend up in the Panhandle, bringing home the school's first ever team state championship. Quite an accomplishment there, a huge deal for Citrus High School, and a big deal for Citrus County. That's one thing I noticed, Mike, when you see teams after they get out of district play and maybe they've eliminated some of their county rivals, we see the other schools enjoy their success and root for them. And I think we've seen that over the past week since Citrus won. The folks from the other schools and the other parents from other schools congratulating them, because it's good for our area to get a state champion. We sort of get undercovered and forgotten about,
of course,
statewide. So it's great for Citrus County, but as you mentioned, for Chop and those young men who put in a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat. And we've talked about before, weightlifting, a lot of players, it's kind of the gateway to football, but some of them it's not. And it's not like you're just going in there lifting weights trying to get to your best weight and do everything you can to help in football. They're also doing it as a sport, and they put in a lot of work.
And they're dedicated. And they're very dedicated. I mean, I've seen a lot of the kids at the YMCA, if they didn't have a chance to do it on their own time, doing weightlifting, not just doing it at the school, but on their own time. And they're very dedicated athletes, let's put it that way, too, because they're very good athletes. Carson Flugel finishing second at the state championship level. And then we also got another one at the other school, and, Citrus did really well with the team, but we had an individual state with this Lecanto Panthers.
Right.
That is Shane Thornton.
Yeah, an individual state championship. Again, congratulations to him and his coach, Greg Harper. Look, you've recognized by the state as a state champion. That's a pretty unbelievable accomplishment. That's something you will get the opportunity to talk about for years to come.
That medal's on the wall for a long time.
And you should be proud of it. I mean, there's guys like us that talk about games that we won that were sort of meaningless in Little League. And when you get the opportunity to talk to your children, grandchildren, your friends, and you can walk back to your high school and show that banner hanging in the gym, that's a pretty cool deal.
Well, it's funny because I was involved in, my son had a state championship with soccer in 2004. Lecanto was part of that team as a freshman. Really didn't know it, didn't experience the way he thought it would be, but he still talks about that day, and we still have that medal, and he has it there. So it's something that you'll remember the rest of your life, and it's something that's an experience. I was down there and watching the games and videotaping the games, and it was just an amazing experience. And I know that these guys with Chop Alexander's guys and Shane Thornton experienced something that they will never be able to reproduce, honestly, unless you're going into professional sports and doing something like that.
Yeah, and we've talked about a lot of these kids. This is the highest athletic feat they will have is in high school. Very few have the opportunity to go on to college, and if you can end it with a state championship, like I said, you've done something special. And congratulations, because there's a lot of us that have a lot of great memories of high school, but nothing along
like
the lines of a state championship. It's a once in a lifetime experience.
It is.
And kind of funny. We'll just break off real quick and talk about it. FHSAA came out with the change in venues for
from Daytona to
Daytona and Tallahassee,
right?
for the classifications for high school football. I just saw it blow up.
Exploded
when it was announced.
Why?
And what you just talked about, and this is why I brought it up. You just talked about it. I don't care where it is, and you finally saw some coaches as time went on throw this in there. I don't care where they play it. I don't care if it seats 100 or 100,000.
No.
You're playing for a state championship, and as an athlete, I mean, I've played in them and at the high school ranks, and you know, you don't. Maybe you do. I don't remember how many people were in
That's what
the
I'm saying.
stands,
Exactly.
but you know what I do remember is like the day leading up to it, the
Yep.
send off from the school. I remember being in the locker room before the game, and that's what you remember. And so, you know,
Very true.
Get into the debate of whether it should be at a smaller stadium. Look, it's to me, and this is just my opinion, it's kind of discouraging to go out to that big stadium in Orlando and see 95.
1/8 full.
You know, but I do also understand, you know, that there's something to that experience of being in that big stadium.
Right.
And sometimes you don't notice that there's empty seats. You don't care. This is where the pros have played. This is where there's college football bowl games. And that also means a lot. I get it. But remember,
It goes both ways.
I mean, you know, I think ultimately as the athlete, you remember the game. Sometimes you remember the experience. And it's cool to play in a huge venue, but you know what? It's a state championship game, and you know there are financial ramifications, ticket sales that go into it. So, look, is it a big deal? You know, to some it might be, to others it's not. You know, you've got the folks down south not happy with the travel, but for me, if I was a kid, this, like I said, just me. If I'm playing in the state championship, I would much rather get on the bus, have my school, pay for the big charter bus, and go 6-8 hours away, spend the night in a hotel, and get ready for the state championship game. I don't want it 45 minutes away if I can. That's it. Just I don't know. That's just me. There's that whole experience. What do you do in college football or college basketball? You go, you spend the night in the hotel,
Right.
you play in the game. That's just to me part of it.
And
And
that's-
if you got to drive, great. I
It's
think
part and
worth it.
parcel of it, and that's what I mean. The 2004 Lecanto team, you know, stayed in a hotel. They went down into the Miami area and then you know stayed there, and they practiced on a little field that was just offside. I think it was just a neat, unique kind of a situation. But yes, you're right. Sometimes you remember the venue. Sometimes you really need to remember the game, and the game and the experience is what it's going to be, and that's what most people, what their compadres doing, their teammates were doing, how they reacted, whether you won or lost. It's a big deal. Some parents are the ones that are saying, well, let's play in this big stadium, let's play this here because that's prestige. But you know what? As an athlete, when you put to play the game, period, play the game.
I mean, we've been at some high school games, Mike. I mean, usually it's the district games, the county. We've seen it at Dunellen with a couple of games. I remember when Baker County came down, it was packed. Those atmospheres are second to none. I mean, when you've got a high school stadium that is filled to the brim and people are standing along the fence in the end zones, that's a pretty good atmosphere. That rates right up there with walking into a huge stadium with, a small crowd. Those are the nights that you remember.
And that's what I remember. I remember playing at home in Chris River in the 79 season and playing Hudson. And there was 4,000, 5,000 people at Chris River Stadium. It was lined up against the walls. You could not run out of bounds without hitting somebody. So that, to me, I remember that game. We lost the game, by the way. But I remember the game.
Atmosphere.
The atmosphere was there, and it was very popular.
Yeah. Look, you're with anything you do. We've talked about it with the playoffs, the point system in football, the change in all the other sports. I mean, look, I've seen it in a handful of different states. Some like to do them in the big stadium, and if you can make money and it's worth it, great. Some do it in smaller college venues. There was talk about that here. Some do it in really nice high school stadiums as well. It's about the game and the championship.
Always is.
And obviously, the financial aspect.
Chop and the Citrus guys, they won it in Panama City in a gymnasium that was a high school gym. Hey, you know what? More power to you. Won.
You won. And congratulations to them. So that kind of wraps it up on the football, except for spring football getting ready to start. We'll talk to the coaches as they prepare for what spring football leads to, which is, we mentioned, different things for different teams, what you're trying to accomplish. Of course, you talk about big atmospheres, Mike. There was a pretty good sized atmosphere last night out at Lecanto High School. The bat game. It's a big one, obviously, just in and of itself and what it represents to the two schools. It's a district game, so it meant a lot as well. And I was out there last night. Here's a recap of the annual bat game that lived up to the hype. Exciting game. High school baseball, Crystal River and Lecanto, the battle in the annual bat game. Pick it up top of the first and second for the Pirates. Joey Caggiano gets the comebacker from Seth Purnell, turns into a 1-6-3 double play. Crystal River would get on the board in the second. Brandon Van Ness doubles in a pair. A 4-run inning. Crystal River leads 4-0. Lecanto would claw back 4-1 in the fourth. Men on first and second. Pirates can't turn the double play. That leads to a wild throw and a run. Cuts the lead to 4-2. It's 4-3 in the bottom of the seventh. Man on first for Lecanto. The grounder to first. Could be a double play, but the bad throw puts runners on at second and third. After a putout at the plate, the tying run is still at third base. Jacob Brace hits one deep. It's foul, but that's good enough for a sacrifice fly. That ties the game at 4 apiece. To extras we go. This one goes all the way to the ninth after a Caleb Dix triple. That's Seth Purnell, the RBI single. Pirates up 6-4. That would be your game-winning RBI as Tyler Tambasco closes it out for Crystal River. They pick up the victory 6-4, and in doing so, they reclaim the bat with the victory over Lecanto. A big win for Crystal River. Congratulations to Coach Dominguez and more importantly the seniors who get the bat back after it went over to the Lecanto dugout. It is a big bat. That's the first thing I heard the Crystal River players say when the game win final was, "Where's the bat? I want to see how big that bat is, man." It's a big bat and a big win for Crystal River. A district win for Crystal River as well, which certainly helps them in the standings, Mike, as they get set for the postseason. District play, regular season district play is over right now in baseball.
Actually, it gets them in the number 3 seed. You've got Springstead, Dunellen in the top 2 positions, Crystal River 3rd, Lecanto 4th, and of course Citrus running in the 5th position. So districts coming out, getting ready for that. So that's good for Crystal River to push them up a little bit.
Yeah, a nice chance, and now play a few non-district games and get ready for that district tournament. And again, same format for now. We'll change it all next school year, but the
next year
format
we'll talk differently.
you make it to the district championship game, you're in, which means Crystal River is a good chance. If they do with what the regular season kind of showed us, chance they would have to play Dunellen in the semifinals, which could be interesting. And then you could see Lecanto, Citrus with an opportunity, maybe one of them an opportunity to take on the big boy Springstead and see if somebody can knock them off before the district championship game.
We've said this all year. We said this all year. I mean, districts are districts, and you can beat with somebody and knock them out. Hallelujah, you're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one and done.
Yeah, softball, huge game coming up tonight. Crystal River against Dunellen, battle for the number 1 seed, the regular season district championship. It will come down to this game to determine the number 1 seed. Crystal River wins. They would sweep the season series of Dunellen, and they will be the number 1 seed for the upcoming district tournament. If Dunellen picks up the victory, they would create a tie. Then we'd have to go into the tiebreakers. But a huge one tonight, and great to see two teams. Dunellen just creeps over that Citrus County line, but 2 local teams battling it out for a regular season district title. It's been a great regular season for the Crystal River girls. I don't know exactly what everybody thought going into the regular season, but with Dunellen and Springstead and their history, I think you certainly give Crystal River credit for maybe doing a little more than people thought they were going to do.
Yeah, I thought they exceeded expectations this year. And we talked last week with Coach Dennis Jenkins from Dunellen, and he said that was a crucial when they lost to Citrus. Dunellen lost to Citrus.
Right.
That was crucial. That means that they have to win tonight, and so that they could have lost tonight and still been able to get the number 1 seed. But they've got to win it tonight, and Dunellen does to have to get the number 1 seed. But Crystal River is on a tear right now.
Yeah, we talked about it with Coach Jenkins. Remember, nothing is a given in a playoff type atmosphere. But if you're Crystal River, you get that number 1 seed. I think the thought is there's an opportunity to kind of cruise into that district championship game, whereas now the number 2 and 3 could be Dunellen and Springstead, and that could be
a tough matchup.
And the winner of that would earn the spot in the state tournament and get to the district championship game. But that's a heck of a semifinal game. But we'll see what happens.
Same format, right? The number 1 and 2 teams are going to go into.
You make it to the district championship game, you're in.
Right.
Next year that will switch to the district tournament winner. But yeah, this year it's the top two again. So those semifinal winners are in to the state championship tournament. So, and of course, same thing. If you win your district tournament, you will be at home for the first round of the state playoffs. The runner-up goes on the road, is how that works. So good luck to both those teams. Should be a heck of a night. We saw a great atmosphere at Lecanto last night for Lecanto Crystal River. I hope it's just as good as atmosphere tonight out as Crystal River takes on Denellen.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, flag football as the regular season gets set to come to a close. Crystal River flag football with a big win over their rivals from Citrus as they continue to rise up the district rankings and move on into the district tournament. A big win for them. Lecanto closed out, I think it was a senior night last night for them. They had a big win over Vanguard, shut Vanguard out. So congratulations to both those flag
For sure, the
football
cream
teams.
of the crop right now with flag football, but we'll see how it goes again in district play.
Yeah, absolutely. Seven Rivers Christian School, the boys baseball team continues to be fantastic. They did suffer their first loss of the season at a very talented Montverde school, Montverde Academy, but
that school, by the way.
Yeah, it's
okay. Just want to make sure everybody knows what that is.
IMG Junior, maybe.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
If it's
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
put that out there.
Yeah.
Montverde is they just bring in athlete after athlete. So
yeah, especially on the basketball side, but baseball is the same way.
Soccer too, honestly.
Yeah. And Coach Phillips at Seven Rivers doesn't mind traveling over there and playing them. They played them over here last year. They take them on, and a game where they really held their own after the first inning, but a big first inning for Montverde kind of did in Seven Rivers. But they come back, pick up a win this week, and 13-1 on the season. You look at some of the statewide polls, is ranked as high as number 3 or 4, and they should be.
I agree.
Fantastic season. As
Mr. Pillsbury,
Carson Pillsbury just dominates. A nice article in the paper on him. He's doing a fantastic job, and not to be outdone by the boys on the diamond, the girls on the diamond at Seven Rivers. Coach Dreyer and those young ladies, 12-3, coming off a 13-0 win last night. So they pick up a ton of wins and continue to move on in the district standings. Looks like they're going to be potential state playoff team as well.
Yeah, Seven Rivers on the diamonds are really good. So their school has been dominant for the last couple of years on that.
Great job, and we'll continue to update them as they get ready for district tournament time. And we talked about it. Wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Phillips and that Seven Rivers baseball team back down in the state Final Four again. Don't want to put any undue pressure on them, but with the way they've played, the competition they've played, they're certainly capable of that. So congratulations to them.
Definitely.
Also, before we close out, let's see, real quick, we'll. A week ago, I talked about how quickly it can end. We were talking about the Lightning in the playoffs. Just talking about how the pressure.
I was wondering. I didn't know if you were going to bring that up. I didn't know if you wanted to bring that up, but I really kind of sweat. But I mean, outcoached. I believe Tortorella just dominated Cooper in this. I don't know why, but
and that will be. And I've talked to a lot of my hockey buddies about this, and the question is this the kind of loss that costs Cooper his job? My thought is there's no way it should. And,
I agree.
And the reason I say that is, and look, I know the coach is responsible for getting his team to play a certain way, and he may lose his job because someone's got to be the fall guy for this. But Coach Cooper was given this roster by Steve Eiserman and now the new GM, which is offensively created, an offensive juggernaut. They can score goals at an alarming rate. They're so talented, but the playoffs are about defense and toughness. He did everything he could do with this group. Is it? And you could, maybe it is the coach, but is it his fault that Steven Stamkos, the captain and the leader, scores 1 goal in 4 games and it comes in game 4 when you're already down 3-0? Is it his fault that Nikita Kucherov takes a stupid, selfish penalty late in game 2 when you're already down 2-0 and you lose him for game 3? Would it have made a difference? I don't know. The best player in the National Hockey League, the most prolific goal scorer, is out for game 3 on the road where you need some offense.
True that.
It makes a difference. I think his defense is aged. And the young guys they have brought in are offensive players. Sergachev is one of them, who's a very talented player, but he's not going to win any physical battles in front of the net. You know what the playoffs are all about. And maybe the composition of the team needs to be changed. Obviously, they felt like this group going into the playoffs with their talent, the way they went through the regular season, they could be physical enough, and they should have been physical enough to handle Columbus, certainly not get swept. So, look, not to say Coach Cooper is not at all responsible, but your guys have got to play.
You guys have
to
play, and I totally agree with that, but I will disagree with, I think, the problem I have with it is I just saw Tortorella, just the way he fires up. Cooper is so laid back.
He is.
And it's fine. And that's different coaching styles. But there comes a point when you've got to, jump on somebody and say, this is what you got to do. Now, does that make a difference in the professional leagues? Maybe it doesn't make a hill of beans. But I saw more fire and more, skating, the forechecking that Columbus did up in the... Oh, yeah. In the games, there was nothing in that like that going with the Lightning. They seemed to be missing passes. It was lackadaisical, and that's kind of what I was getting at. That's where the coach has got to take it by the bull by the horns. That's what Tortorella did in the first game.
And I think part of it to me it all goes back to game one, and they were stunned after blowing a 3-0 lead. But I'll go to Stamkos and Kucherov not being his defense, and the other guys too, Braden Point. And even some of their defensemen, they were still trying to score goals up 3-0 when you've got to dump the puck in on offense, let the clock run, play responsible on defense, and they never recovered from that loss. And to me, that's on your leaders in the locker room. I mean, because there are a few things you can do game to game, but not a lot. You're not going to change your system. You're not going to change up your lines too much. You need your guys to score goals when they get the opportunity. You need your defensemen to make plays when they have a chance, and you need your goaltender to make big saves at big times.
Vasilevsky was not himself.
And Vasilevsky was not good. I think he has proven he can handle it. It was not a good playoff series for him. And it wasn't for a lot of the guys. This is another reason why I don't think Cooper should lose his job, but he may.
I don't either.
Someone's going to grab him. You don't win 62 games in the regular season, and he gets.
They just gave him an extension. They're not going to do that.
Maybe someone else is going to grab him, and he's going to win some playoff series because you're going to give him a roster that's a little more suited to the playoffs. I mean, this was a great season to watch for Lightning fans, but would you take 10 less wins for 3 postseason wins or more? A roster shakeup at a minimum is in order. And, who knows about the coaching.
And I think what you said was spot on with the first game, because up 3-0, you should be playing defensively. A lot of people say, like, offense, you don't want to do it. The prevent defense in football, it causes more points than anything else. But you still got to, like you said, dump the puck, and you got to play physical, and you got to pound them in the front end. If you're up 3-0, I don't know what the score was after the second period. I don't know if they had come back or not.
It was 3-1.
It was 3-1. Okay, so it's still up. And that's where I think, Cooper's got to take the bull by the horns, and I keep on saying this, is saying, look, you've got to dump it in there. I don't want to score anymore. If you get an open net, you shoot it. But the point I'm getting at is you got to play defense, and what you said is dump the puck in there and just forecheck the heck out.
Well, and they had guys not willing to do that for whatever the reason. And it starts with your two big boys up front, Stamkos and Kucherov, not taking the lead. Yep. And,
it's true.
Who knows what would have happened? But this goes down as one of the biggest postseason flops in professional sports history. I mean, it's up there with the Seattle Mariners and the great season they had and didn't win it. I mean, this is
the Buccaneers.
Yeah, this is horrible. So it's it's bad.
I feel bad.
It's bad. The good is still the Tampa Bay Rays as they returned home.
That's the best in the majors right now.
I believe they've won every series they've played this year, and off to a good start with a win over Baltimore last night. 9,000 friends and family were on one hand. We don't need to hammer the attendance thing.
It was a Tuesday.
It's going to be like this all.
It's a Tuesday.
Nothing's going to change.
The school's not out yet. Come on.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's and being big picture doesn't matter either, because it's the same whether they are contending and they're in first place or they're 35 games out in last place. You're going to get between 8,000 and 15,000 a night. It makes no difference. If they make the playoffs on a Tuesday afternoon for Game 1, if they host it, you'll see a packed house because everybody jumps on the playoff winner, and still has nothing to do with the future of the Rays, whether or not they stay or go. This season doesn't matter, but they're in good shape. Good news is, I guess Blake Snell is only going to miss a start with a broken toe after. You deal with granite slabs.
Granite, yeah, that's the dumbest.
Does it feel good when you try? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you miss one start?
Yeah. I was at work the next day, but it was I was walking.
Well, he was
around.
at work too, but
he's just pitching. Right. I can write with this hand.
Yeah, only gonna miss. So it is legit. It hurts.
It hurts bad.
Granite. Okay. Mike Team is the expert, so we'll trust him on that. I'm not going to test it out, but if it is, no big deal. Hopefully,
that's why we're in steel toe shoes at work.
That's just why you don't move whatever he
granted
was moving at home. You hire it out.
Hire it out, baby.
Yeah. Also, the schedule for the NFL. I know we're a week away from the draft.
Yep. I won't be here next week for this podcast, so I'm going to call in for you if you'd like. If you don't want to, I'll be in Nashville, and Joe and I will be ready to go. We'll be sitting down watching the festivities near Broadway, so in downtown Nashville. So.
Should be a lot of fun. As we mentioned, the schedule unveiling today for the Buccaneers. We knew they were going to play over in England. They do.
Yep.
At the new stadium for Tottenham Hotspurs, where they're going to be playing.
Really want to go to that game. Really would love to go to that game.
Yeah. How soon do they? When's the last soccer game before they turn it over for football?
Actually, I think August is right when they get started because they're playing
Premier League.
Premier League at that point, so they really started.
I'm sure the NFL doesn't let them play a soccer game anywhere near.
No, they did this year. Remember the field was all messed up. Remember?
Oh,
this
they
year.
did.
This year,
I'm surprised the NFL even allows that.
No, they did. That's why they actually said the turf was atrocious over there. I don't know which was Wembley or somebody, but I've got a couple of things. I didn't go through the full picks. I did the first three just so I can get some names out there. And again, I'm probably absolutely wrong, as is everybody, because there's 13 million mock drafts out there.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the top four that are what they're going to do, whether they're going to take a quarterback or
Arizona could still trade down.
You could.
And the Bucs could trade down. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can happen.
Yeah, so I mean, here's we got Arizona, San Francisco, New York Jets, Oakland, then Tampa Bay at 5, Giants and Jacksonville right behind them. So my thing is in the first pick in the number 5 in the first round, number 2. In the second round, you got number 7, which is the 39th pick. Third round, 70th pick, which is number 6. Fourth round, the 5th pick, which is 107. Fifth round is a 7th pick, 145. And the 7th round would be the first pick at number 215. Now, like I said, I'm looking at it from a point of view of defense. Of course, we talked about defense. That's what they need. They've got a lot of offensive weapons. They're going to try to shore up a little bit on the defense. And my pick for the first pick for the Buccaneers is Devin White, linebacker from LSU. Now, you're saying, why not an edge rusher? Why not get somebody like that they can bring it up? They lost Quan Alexander. Mm-hmm. They do have David. They're going to a 3-4, which is a different setup, and LaFonte is going to go inside, and then you're going to have 2 outside guys you're going to need. Devin White was the fastest linebacker that you've seen. They want speed on the outside to be able to cover. I think he's going to be their number 1 pick for 2019.
And you've got, and it doesn't always work out this way, but you've got an SEC linebacker that you would assume,
as Quan was,
you can be ready for what the NFL is pretty quickly. You would assume the learning curve coming from a school in LSU that turns out plenty of talented linebackers.
Yep.
So you're good with all of that. Let me ask you this before you go to the other picks. Is he a guy that if you can pick whoever you want these other teams, who would be your number 1? If you could say the Bucs are still at number 5, but the number 1 guy I want them, who's the best player for the Bucs right now, regardless of whether they draft 1 or 5. Like if the Bucs were number 1, who would you pick?
I would pick Quinnen Williams.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to be there.
He'll be gone.
He'll be gone.
So and again, still at number 5, this guy would be probably your second pick?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, because we know it's probably going to be two quarterback, maybe a quarterback.
At least one quarterback I think is going to go, depending on who's going to move around. But
and it's crazy to me that you've got Gruden and that whole group picking right in front of the Bucks because you talk about a wild card. Who knows what he's going to do? They are going to do.
Maybe a kicker. Maybe he picks a kicker.
that would scare the bejesus out of me if I'm the Buccaneers when they say Oakland Rick, because you have no idea what that crazy crew is going to do. But the Bucs are in a good spot. We've talked about defense, and look, you can make a mistake, but if you're going defense and you're going to try to pick a guy who's ready to play as soon as you can, I don't think you can go wrong with one of the SEC's top players.
No, I agree, and that's why I think that they've got to have a. You don't know what. There's a couple of Cicci's not sure that he'll be back, but Beckwith, you're not sure he's going to be back. Because he's been out for the whole season. They had the 2017 number 7 pick, I believe, and linebacker. But you've got some issues that you need to fill there, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you mentioned as well moving forward. You mean how deep do you go defense in this draft? Do you look at the first two?
I go first two. I do go first two on it. I have going Rashawn Gary. I did have an offensive lineman. I think they're going to move that back. Defensive lineman Rashawn Gary from Michigan to give them another rusher on that side to help out Jason Pierre-Paul and Nassib. I think they're going to have to do that to shore up the defense. And then the number 3rd pick, I've got a cornerback. I cannot say this. Ornamara from Penn State. Big bodies. Cornerback, 6'1", 205 to offset some of those smaller. We got Hargraves that we've got on the side and Carlton Davis. Both Hargraves is smallish. Davis is okay, 6 foot, but you've got a big body here, 6'1", that can speed and cover.
Yeah.
So the first 3 picks, defense, I think, is going to have to go all the way through.
Yeah, and hopefully with the new regime, they can come in and make an impact as soon as possible. They mentioned linebacker; they need an impact player.
Yeah, they're going to have
soon.
To. And and Devin White is a leader. He's like Quan Alexander that's going to take over that defense and be able to take some little the heat off of Lavonte and be able to say, I'll take some of this. Yeah. And he's a big guy, and he's that guy. The quickness is 4.42 and a 40. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, can't do much better than that. So we'll see what the Buccaneers do. It's a week away. Mike will be up there, give us a complete recap of what the Bucs do. And, of course, we'll keep an eye on everything going on here at home across the county as we close in on district tournament time for a couple of sports. And once again, just want to say congratulations to Citrus High on the state weightlifting championship. Congratulations to them. We'll hopefully have more from Coach Alexander in the coming days about that and keep you updated on everything going on across the county in our next Citrus Preps podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you again next week.